At 10 grand, you got a floor. At 100 grand, your money started outworking you. So what happens at 1 million? The snowball becomes an avalanche, and that word matters, because an avalanche doesn't need a push, doesn't need a hill, doesn't even need you. $1 million just sitting there throws off about 40,000 a year, forever, without you adding a single cent. That's not a bonus. That's a salary. Your money just got a full-time job, and it never calls in sick. Today, I'm being you one last time, 7-figure you, and I'm going to show you the 4 things that change when your money makes enough to replace you. And the biggest one is this: $1 million still won't make you rich, not the way you've been picturing it. It'll do something better. Change 1. The avalanche. At 100 grand, the snowball rolled on its own. At 1 million, it stops being something you can even keep up with. Run the numbers and it gets almost absurd. $1 million at a normal 7% grows by $70,000 in a single year. 70,000. That's more than most people earn at their job, and my money made it in the background while I did nothing. Whatever I can still chip in from a paycheck? Next to that, it's a rounding error. For the first time, I am not the engine and I'm not even the passenger. I'm just standing next to something enormous that's moving on its own. It's the same machine you've been watching the whole time, just at a scale that doesn't feel real anymore. The first 10 grand took everything you had. This 70,000 a year takes nothing. That's what $1 million does. It moves the work off of you and onto the money. That's the avalanche. The point where what your money does in a year is bigger than what you could ever add to it. You didn't get faster. The thing you built just got that big. Change 2. The salary. This is the one that quietly ends the question that's run your entire adult life. Do I have to work? There's an old rule of thumb. You can pull about 4% of your money out every year, basically forever, without ever running it dry. 4% of $1 million is $40,000 a year. That doesn't touch the principal. The million stays $1 million, and it keeps paying. So my money now earns a full salary every year for the rest of my life, and the only thing I had to do to get hired for that job was save it. Sit with what that means. $40,000 a year that shows up whether I get out of bed or not. My job didn't disappear, but for the first time, it became a choice. That's the difference between having money and having $1 million. $1 million is the number where work turns from something you must do into something you might do. So that's change 2. $1 million doesn't make me rich. It makes me my own employer, one who pays me to exist and never fires me. Change 3. The flip. And if you've been with me since the start, this is the one you've been waiting for. Remember the very first level? Broke me. $8 in the account, getting hit with a $35 fee for being $1 short. The bank treated me like a toll booth treats a car. Well, watch what happens now. At $1 million, the bank doesn't charge me, it courts me. Lower rates, a real human, deals the broke version of me was told didn't exist. The big one, they'll lend me cash against my million at around 3%, so I never even have to sell it. I went from the customer they squeezed to the client they chase. That's the thing nobody tells you at the bottom. The system that fined me for being poor is the exact same system that rewards me for being rich. It never changed. I crossed to the other side of the desk. The money didn't just buy me freedom from the bank, it turned me into one. So that's change 3. $1 million doesn't make me rich. It makes me the bank. The thing that used to work on me now works for me. Change 4. The real trap. And this one is sneakier than every trap before it because by now you can afford not to see it. Here's what $1 million actually is, and it's going to disappoint you. It is not a yacht. It's not a mansion or a supercar. $1 million is about 40 grand a year. It's I never have to work again money, not I buy whatever I want money. And the day you confuse those two is the day you spend the freedom trying to look rich and end up with neither. And there's a quieter trap waiting up here. The number that was supposed to set me free becomes a scoreboard. 1 million turns into just one more. I spent my whole life chasing a finish line, and now I can't see it even as I cross it, because I keep moving it. The Avalanche can carry me anywhere, but if I never decide where, I'll just ride it in circles, working a job I was finally free to quit. So that's change 4. $1 million doesn't make me rich. It makes me free. And the only way to waste that is to forget what I wanted it for in the first place. So look back at the whole climb with me. 10 grand gave you a floor, so a bad day stopped becoming a bad year. 100 grand was the crossover, where your money started pulling its own weight. And 1 million is the avalanche, where it finally carries you. 3 numbers, 1 staircase, each one quietly bought back a piece of your life. And here's the thing I've been building to this whole time. Not one of those numbers made you rich. Not really. Not the way the ads promised. 10 grand, 100 grand, 1 million. Every single one of them bought the same thing. Not stuff, not status, time, freedom, the ability to say no. Rich was never the goal. It was just the word they sold you, so you'd keep climbing without ever asking what you were climbing toward. And if you think 1 million is the top, it isn't. There's one more flip past here, and it's the strangest one of all. At $10 million, the money stops being about you. It gets big enough to outlive you, to change the lives of people you'll never meet. But that's a different kind of number, and a different kind of story. $1 million will not make you rich. I've told you that for 3 episodes now, and I'll tell you one last time. It was never about getting rich. It was about getting free. The number is just the receipt. So here's the only question left. Now that you know what every level actually buys, which one are you on, and which one are you really climbing toward? And if you think 1 million is the top, wait until you see what changes at 10, when the money stops being about you at all, and starts being about everyone who comes after. That's where we go next.